good evening, everybody. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV. Yes, this is a match match review from the game the other night on Sunday night. Yesterday, I was still feeling a bit of effects on the weekend, being tired, and also being bank holiday. I was trying to catch up on things to do yesterday, so that's why I didn't do a show yesterday. So I thought I'd do it tonight. I know it's a bit later on, and everybody else is doing a show, but I thought I'll do it tonight anyway. I'm joined by Rolly. How are you, Rolly?
Still feeling Champions League, but still hurting from Sunday.
Like everybody else is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you do like what you see, then please do smash that like. It really does help the channel stay towards top of the search. It means new viewers can find it. Also, if you're brand new at the channel, come and smash the subscribe. Big part of this great community we have here. It's free to do so, and bell notification also tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, any upcoming shows. If you want to become a member, 99p a month, just click the join button. And also, if you want to make a donation, you can do that in the chat by clicking on the $ as well. Okay, right then, let's get into the comments first of all before get into the show. Bia says, evening, Tony and Uncle Rory. Good evening to you, Bia. Hope you're well, my friend. Ian says, evening, Tony and Rory. Good evening, Ian. Hope you're well, my friend, as well. Jack says, evening all. Good evening, Jack. Hope you're well, my friend. Would-be farmer. The game gets played 10 times, 2 wins, 9. This was that one game. Yeah. Suck it up, learn from it, and go on a 5-game winning streak easy as that absolutely would be. Andrew says, I read. Absolutely, mate. We're all right. Are you? Gary says, hi, Tony, Rolly, Ian, Bia and Jack. Good evening to you, Gary. Hope you're well, my friend. Lee says, evening, Tony and Rolly and everyone. What a shocker from Sunday, but we'll bounce back better than stronger. Come on, the tune. Absolutely. Danny Teklu, thank you very much. And would-be farmer, they got lucky. I may fly over just to witness revenge when we have to travel to their cesspit of a stadium. Absolutely. Andrew says, we'll beat them at Anfield, have no fear. Bet you a beer. Hey, Andrew, bit of poetry tonight, mate. Hey, bit of poetry. My God. Somebody's been doing a bit of poetry. Anyway. Yeah, so going back to Sunday, right? I'll put my views in and then we'll hear Rolly's side of it as well. Mag says tune, absolutely, Mag. Right, Sunday. We all had expectations. Sorry, I'll just grab this coming because David's just coming. Hi, Tony and Rolly. Hi to you, David. On Sunday, Eddie Howe changed the wrong players for me. Not took Gordon off and Sandro for me, but should have took Miggy and Dan Burn off. Yeah, we're going to get into that, mate, absolutely. So, Sunday, we had high hopes of beating Liverpool. And, you know, I did say we would win this game 3-1. I really thought we would. So, we all go into this game, you know, because we saw Liverpool against Bournemouth. It didn't look great. So we came out the blocks in the first half. Okay, you could say probably it was a foul from Gordon on Trent Alexander-Arnold, which wasn't punished by the referee. So Alexander-Arnold got furious, threw the ball back on the pitch, and the referee gave him a yellow card for time wasting. Then, within about a minute or two later, Trent Alexander-Arnold puts his arm across the front of across the front of the face of Anthony Gordon, pulls him down. And you're thinking, right, referee's going to pull out a second yellow here and he's off because, you know, he's got to pull out a yellow card here. And to the shock of everybody, John Brooks decides not to pull out a yellow card. Now, straight away, my thoughts of John Brooks were, right, matey, what are you playing at? This game is far too big for a referee like you. If you can't handle a big game like this, you should not be refereeing in the Premier League. That game was too big for that referee, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to say it was far too big for a 33-year-old referee who lost his bottle to send off Trent Alexander-Arnold because he was frightened of Jurgen Klopp on this touchline. And I'm sorry, the referee must have been intimidated by him. Now then, he got lucky. And I thought, right, he's a red card waiting to happen now, Trent Alexander-Arnold, because you can see Gordon's going to target him all game now. And then obviously a few minutes later, we saw Gordon put through a delicious ball. We saw Gordon score, obviously. Great goal by Gordon, by the way. He took it really well, composed himself to put it past Alisson through his legs. I mean, great goal. But then that delicious ball he fed Isak as well. What a ball that was. Isak was totally taken out by Virgil van Dijk. I saw the referee brandish the red card and I was like, oh, okay. At first, I thought Van Dijk got the ball, in all honesty. But when you look back at the replay, you do see that Van Dijk has actually missed the ball and actually took out Isak. Now, I don't get Jamie Carragher sitting, but there again, we should all know he's a red at the end of the day. And no matter what, he's got his red tinted glasses on. He couldn't take them off for this game. For him to actually sit there and say, how can that be a red card? It's not a goal scoring opportunity. Well, yes, it is, because if you look, there is nobody back, no last man back before Alisson. The only last man there is, there's only him and then Alisson. There is no other defender back. If there was another defender in that box, then he may have got a yellow card, not a red, but he got a straight red for it. And it doesn't matter if it's not the goal scoring opportunity. It's the intent was there, you know. And what's to say Isak doesn't go on and score a goal? You know, we know what he's like. He's got some class in front of him. So there's nothing to say that he wouldn't have scored, because of course he could have scored. Or the worst thing was Alisson comes flying out and gives away a penalty. So the referee was right with the red card, I thought. Then obviously VAR checked it and Stuart Atwell agreed, uphold the red card. That's exactly what it is. And then the disgraceful scenes from Virgil van Dijk to argue with the referee, refusing to leave the field, then having to go to the fourth official, Craig Pawson, on the way off the field as well. Security having to get involved, you know. I mean, look. And today we've seen the FA are now charging him with improper conduct. And I hope they throw the book at him. I hope they really do throw the book at him, because they need to show an example. You cannot disrespect the officials like that. If the referees made the decision it's a red card, VAR's looked at all the replays and agreed with the referee it is a red card, then you should just leave that field without a protest and just accept, sorry, I've made a mistake, I've mistimed, I've got a red card, I have to accept it, move on. And he could have gone off that field and you'd only got a 1 game ban. Now, if he's getting done off the FA, this ban could be increased even more. So by doing that, he's not helping himself as a player. So I can see why he was frustrated. But again, he should have realised, well, hang on, VAR's looked at it. It must be, I must have not got the ball or whatever. And it is rightly a red card and he should have walked, but obviously he didn't want to. So, 1-0 up at half time, we go in and we're like, yeah, great, okay. I mean, look, Almiron had that shot as well, we know in the first half, which Alisson pulled off a tremendous save. And, let's be honest, that was a great saving off the volley from Almiron. But the second half, we thought, right, if we get the second goal, this game's gone. It's done, And then we see Eddie Howe taking off Tonali and Gordon. Now, I was a bit taken back by that, because I'm thinking, well, why are you taking 2 of the players off who were actually playing really well? I mean, I thought Tonali was absolutely fantastic on Sunday. And I thought Gordon was brilliant as well, to be honest. So I thought, well, okay, we've brought them off. Longstaff came on, and obviously Harvey Barnes came on. Now, I don't like to criticise people. I don't like to criticise players. But sometimes when you have to criticise somebody, you have to do it. And I thought Sean Longstaff offered nothing during that game when he came on. The attempt at goal, I thought, was just, I don't know what he was trying to do. Trying to be clever, which didn't come off. So for me, Longstaff did nothing. Harvey Barnes could have played Wilson in a lot sooner, which Wilson may have gone on and scored. Harvey Barnes took too many touches, in my opinion, and ended up getting crowded out. So maybe in a way he made a mistake there, Harvey Barnes. You know, you could see the frustration on Wilson when that happened. And then obviously, because they came off, obviously Jota was on for Liverpool and Harvey Elliott. They sort of changed things up a little bit for Liverpool. But I think Jurgen Klopp looked at that when we took off Tonali and Gordon, and I think Klopp thought, thank Christ for that, they've gone off. That was probably the best thing that Klopp ever saw, them two going off, because them two were running Liverpool ragged. We were in control of that game when them two were playing. They went off, and he thought, right, I'm going to throw Darwin Núñez on now. And you could say it's an unlucky deflection that comes off Botman, lands in the path of Núñez, who goes on to score past Nick Pope. The second goal, I'm trying to work out what Dan Burns actually doing. You can see he's trying to play an offside trap, but he's not quick enough to do it. That's the problem. And the problem with Dan Burns is he was caught in two minds. Once he started going forward and he realised, he's not offside, he was caught in no man's land, and he just doesn't have the pace to catch up to Núñez. And Núñez goes on and scores what turned out to be the winning goal for Liverpool to make it 2-1. So in some ways, that game was sort of gifted to Liverpool, because we should have won that game comfortably. We could not get the second goal. That is a difference when you've got... That's a difference with players of likes of Núñez's quality. They know how to put the ball in the back of the net. And we tried, but obviously we couldn't get that second goal. But I just thought the manner we threw that game away was just diabolical. And I don't normally like to criticise Eddie Howe, but on this occasion, I have to say Eddie Howe got it wrong. He got it well and truly wrong. Those substitutions, you should never have took them two players off, because them two players were playing so well. And you might say, yes, it's the red zone. I want them off because I don't want them getting injured in that particular part of the game. But what I can't understand is why Eddie's made that change, because the thing is, it's not like it was causing any distress to get them off the field. So I don't know what his thinking is. And then Eddie Howe comes out and says, well, it is what it is, and it just wasn't to be. And I thought, well, yes, but it could have been, because we should have beat Liverpool. They only had 10 men. Eddie Howe thinks we played better when it was 11v11 rather than 11v10. But I just think if we'd kept those two on, even for another 10 minutes or so, I think we see that game out. But Botman's picked up an injury, and we think he's only going to be out for a few weeks, which thankfully is a lot less than what we actually thought, because it could have been a lot longer. Because it could have been, he could have been out for a lot longer than that. But thankfully, it sounds like he's only going to be out for a few weeks. But I was just disappointed the manner that we lost that game, when we had the game in our hands there to win that game. Even when Darwin Núñez got the equaliser, at least go out and not lose the game, just get a draw even and take the point, Yeah, I mean, look, yes, we've had a tough start the season. We hammered Villa. We got beat off City, fair enough. You're getting beat off the best team in the world, best club side in the world. Then we're playing Liverpool, a team that doesn't look full of confidence. We should have beat Liverpool, in all honesty. Does it come back and haunt us that mad dog Jason Tyndall, put his finger to his lips to Klopp when we scored? I mean, things like that. Things like that spur the other side on. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's a bad day at the office. Very bad day at the office. And we just got to move on now. We've got Brighton at the weekend. which is going to be yet another difficult game. We don't do very well at the Amex. The last couple of times we've been there, we've got draws. Even though Brighton have lost Caicedo, to Chelsea, and they've lost obviously McAllister to Liverpool. That doesn't weaken Brighton because they've got players in reserve. They've got players in reserve who can come in and take the places of Caicedo and of McAllister, which we've already seen with Enciso, who unfortunately he's out now for a few weeks for Brighton. But Brighton have got other players who will come into that side. So, they've got an ongoing production line. But at the end of the day, my thoughts on that game on Sunday was, I just think we threw that game away. I really do think we threw that game away. That was there for the taking. Liverpool were there for the taking. And they got out of jail. They got away with the 3 points. But the 3 points were gift wrapped. They weren't, it was basically saying, go and have a go. And we sometimes in that second half, we looked a bit conservative. We were just like passing the ball side to side. And I thought, why are we passing the ball sideways? I just thought it was just a bad day. And, but again, at the end of the day, let's just, let's just move on. Let's now go out and beat Brighton. That's what we've got to do now on Saturday. We've got to go out there and beat Brighton. We've got to take the game to Brighton and go out there and hopefully thrash Brighton. Some people saying, are we being humbled now because of the way we play? That's another thing. But we were all over Liverpool, and that's the thing in that first half especially. We were all over them. In that first 25 minutes, Liverpool hardly had the ball. We were all over them. But we need to start taking these chances, and we need to start creating these chances. And, to get them, we need to get into it, because every time we're winning 1-0, that's a dangerous scoreline. Even 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline, But if we'd got that second goal, I don't believe Liverpool come back in that game. Not at all. There's no way. When we looked at Núñez missed that first attempt, you thought, oh yeah, this is their day, they're not going to score. How wrong were we? Because Núñez did score, and he scored a double. And, didn't like the way he celebrated them, because I thought it was a bit of shithousery from him. But again, that's the way he plays. He plays on the edge. So before I come to Rolly, I'm just going to go through some comments, and then I'll get Rolly's thoughts on Sunday as well. Jack says, Tony and Rolly, did you watch the video with the Liverpool and Newcastle fans reacting to the game? I didn't know.
Yeah.
BS says, more than changing players for me, should have killed the game off before the subs. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Miggy was unlucky with that shot, and then Miggy hit the post as well. And Ian says, subs did it for me. Yes, we had our chances. Would-be says, Would-be Farmer says, we knew the first 3 games were going to be tough as Neil, so how we feel if each game had ended 1-1, at 3 points, I believe they are fine, and we'd be in the top 6 position by the end of October. Yeah, let's hope so. Gary says, Eddie got it wrong, he knows it, we know it, and he knows we know it. Lesson learned, forgive, forget, and move on. Absolutely, Gary. I mean, look, I don't like to criticise Eddie Howe. I think it's the first mistake he's made since he's become manager of the club, and that's why, and it's not bad if he's made his first mistake in over 18 months. Daniela says, what happened, lads? Ian says, to be fair, Tony, it was a foul. Trent, yeah, I did mention that, Ian. I did say Anthony Gordon did foul Trent, but he got away with it because the referee didn't see it. But yeah, it was foul. But because Trent threw the ball on, it's classed as time wasting, and he got booked for it. Which I can see the point of it, but I think that time wasting thing is a stupid law, because what if that's one of our players? Say, for instance, that's Alexander Isak and he gets fouled and he throws the ball on in the first minute of the game and he picks up the yellow card. He's got to walk on eggshells for 89 minutes after that. in case he gets another yellow. So that's what I'm saying. That, but it is what it is. Andrew says Carragher talks utter shite, biggest wanker on Sky. Yeah, absolutely, Andrew, absolutely. BS says all the players are on the ref. Should have had more bookings. Yeah, absolutely. Which book should they throw him, Tony? The thick one, hopefully. Yeah, absolutely, Ian. Definitely. But, I just hope they make an example of him. So it shows an example to other players that you can't just do this, abuse officials, because I'm sorry, I thought Virgil van Dijk was bang out of order on Sunday. He was bang out of order. Woodby says Howe was managing for the entire season and not for one game. If this was a cup final, then Tonali and Gordon would still be playing. I don't know why he couldn't have just left them on though, because they were playing so well. Lewis says I still think Trent should have been sent off. He should have been, Lewis. Yeah, the referee bottled it. Well and truly bottled it. The game was too big for that referee, I'm afraid. Joe Linton says we need a centre back. Why have we not got a centre back? Well, there is talks that we're looking at Harry Maguire apparently, but how true that is, we do not know. And another thing we are finding out, Isaac Hayden has apparently failed his medical at Luton Town, so that looks like that deal is off. Joe Linton says we knew we needed a centre back, right winger and left back, and we haven't got one. Hall is young, but he can play a centre back. Should be able to go pick up a centre back at Aldi's, says Woodby Farmer. Big Dog, Dan Burn doesn't have the pace to beat my grandma. Hey, probably hasn't. Next weekend is a massive game now, says Lewis. Absolutely. This weekend, yeah. I would bet that Brighton is not happy to welcome this wounded Toon side, says Woodby Format. That's what I'm thinking, yeah, absolutely. Joe Linton says, pay 40 million for a backup right back who won't play a lot this season is madness.
Bad.
Tyndall needs to stop acting like, yeah. Ronald says, I don't care what anybody says, but this one is on Eddie. Taking more best players off for Gordon and Tonali. Exactly, I thought that was a mistake. That played right into Klopp's hands. Woodby says, Joe Linton, lower your voice, you'll get a yellow. We should get Brighton scouts.
We've got the best.
Daniela says, she expected us to win that.
Yeah. Going back to saying we should get Brighton scouts. Well, we've got the guy who set up Brighton scouting system. They've been doing it for the best part of 8 years. We've only just set up the system. It takes
time. Would-be Farmer says, a Liverpool game is only a failure if the Howe and the boys don't learn from it. Absolutely. Alan says, yeah, I thought Gordon was our biggest threat to them and Tonali was having a good game, but we move on and beat Brighton. Absolutely, Alan. Julie says, hi, Tony and Rolly. Hi, everyone. Hi, Julie. Hope you're well. Liverpool should have been down to 9 men. Referee didn't want and send off Trent Alexander because it was in 7 minutes. Well, doesn't matter, Lewis, at the end of the day. I just think the referee bottled it. Breathe, Tony. Miggy missed a sitter. Yeah. I mean, he was unlucky when he hit the post as well. Nobody expected West Ham to hammer Brighton, but that will happen again, not too sure. Andrew says, not just our team, but don't forget we have a young manager. He's just got outsmarted by Pep and Klopp. No need to panic. We're not panicking, Andrew. All we're saying is we should have won that game against Liverpool. And I still say should never have took off Tonali and Gordon. I mean, Isak did. Yeah, we could say Isak didn't contribute much, but then he didn't really have the service, did he? But when you look at, when you look at Harvey Barnes, when he had that freedom, he should have slipped Wilson in, but he didn't. He kept on to it too long, and maybe that's something he needs to look at as well. Newcastle Daily says, hi, Tony. Hi to you, mate. Hope you're well. Joe Linton says, Hall can't play centre-back. We can play centre-back. He can play 6 different positions, but we'll see what happens. Virgil van Dijk should get a 6-match ban with his attitude to the referee and fourth official. Dickhead, says Lewis. Probably not get a 6-match ban, but I see where you're coming from. Harry Maguire staying at Man U. GB says we're similar type of subs against Villa all season, a mistake, or on our Neve fans just cherry picking when they didn't have the data analyst who had on the bench. I mean, yeah, I know we took Gordon and Tonali off against Villa, but I just thought, but on Sunday I thought they played Tonali and Gordon played even better than they did against Villa, and I know that's saying something, but I thought they played a lot better than they did against Villa on Sunday. But I just thought they should have stayed on. I mean, Eddie knows he's thinking. He's probably realised. Daniela says, but all our teams have to stop the time wasting like it did. If we do it, you can't do it. Yeah, absolutely. Harry Maguire showed the reduced to clear section at Aldi. Yeah, West Ham showed you how to clip the seagull's wings. Brighton keep recruiting unknown gems. We should do that. That's what we're trying to do, aren't we? So, okay. Yeah.
Don't forget that Brighton have been doing it for the best part of a decade.
Yeah.
We've only just started.
Lewis says, one thing I don't like about the match programme now, it doesn't tell you who the referee is. Yes, before Fish, that the linesman and VAR. Yeah, absolutely. If it's that easy team, it would be it. Klopp was forced into tactics. It wasn't some kind of masterstroke who was teaching who were less than 11v11. Eddie took a gamble, says Gary, with the subs because it worked against Villa. He lost the bet, absolutely. Taking off Joe Linton, Tonali and Gordon took away our midfield dominance and ability to win the ball back high up the field, gave Liverpool more possession. Absolutely. I mean, look, if you look at Tonali, he was winning all these balls, wasn't he? High up the field. I mean, after the game, Alan Pardew was on TalkSport and he said, should we have bought a number 6? He said, and I thought, well, we've got one. Tonali can play as a number 6, so can Bruno. But what he's on about is we should have had a more defensive midfielder there because then you may stop that threat of Núñez. But who knows? Mark says, we have a few nice winnable games after Brighton, so I will let Eddie off if we smash Brighton. Do you know what it is? That's the thing. We've got an easier run of games coming up, and this is where we need to knuckle down. And, you know, I mean, look, Man United on a great side. Look at them against Forest. They were 2-0 down. They come back to win 3-2. That, you know, so it just goes to show nothing's easy. Bruno was our read until Tonali went off and then he went to shit, says Ronald. Yeah, I've got to agree with you on that one. He did. Like I said in the preview, if Newcastle want to be a real top 4 team, you need to win your home games via the other top clubs. Absolutely, Daniela. Paul Gardner says, to be honest, 2 that should have come off was Bruno and Miggy, not Tonali and Gordon, just my opinion. No, do you know what it is, Paul? You're absolutely right. I mean, look, I would rather we took off Almiron and put Murphy on the right. Now, I wouldn't have said this the season before last, but I think because he started playing well last season, Murphy, I would have brought Murphy on because I'm not being funny. He's got more of a threat, and I would have took Almiron off for Murphy, in all honesty. But again, I've got to agree with you. Lewis says, Castore's not sending enough stock into the official club store because I've been today to try and get the shirt and I had to settle on some jogging bottoms, but I was going to get them anyway.
It's probably hoodies.
Yeah. Jack says, what are your thoughts on if we lose to Brighton? Do you think Howe will be under a bit of pressure, but people thinking he should go, need to give their heads a wobble? Absolutely, Jack. They need to give their heads a wobble. Look, I mean, we've got to be honest on this, right? It's a great question, Jack. Look, it may put Eddie Howe under a bit of pressure. Who knows? But not the sack. I think, look, The way you've got to look at this is the Saudis, who have owned 80% of the club. They are successful people. They like success. They don't want to be. We've heard what Yasser said. He wants to be number one. Now then, if it was a horrendous run of games and we were losing game after game, say we lost 6 or 7 in a row, then I think it may come down to the crunch that something would happen. But I'm not saying we're going to go out and lose 6 or 7 games in a row, because we're not going to. Well, hopefully we don't. I think Eddie will have them in training this week. He'll be working on where we went wrong. He'll probably show them the Liverpool game, explain where they've gone wrong off his analysts, and then try and put it right against Brighton. I think if we do lose to Brighton, yes, Eddie may feel a little bit of pressure, but he certainly will not be under pressure that he's getting the sack. No chance whatsoever. I think he's got enough credit in the bank. And look, at the end of the day, this is a learning curve for Eddie Howe. He might have looked at that and realised the substitutions he's made were all at the wrong times. If he'd brought, say, Tonali and Gordon off on 85 minutes when we were 1-0 up, then you might look at that and think, well, okay, that's fair enough, But, yeah, that's a great question, Jack. That's a great question. Julie says, maybe under pressure, but not the sack. Absolutely, Julie. Yeah, definitely not the sack. I'm a genius footy manager. 2 days after we play, just asked for he says, would-be farmer. He will if Piff get expectations. Last season, we had the joint best defensive record with a need for a number 6. Yeah, exactly. We didn't have a number 6, did we? Hi, guys. Hope you're doing well, says Foxy. Yeah, doing well, Foxy. Third, I was trying to say stupid. Oh, yeah, no worries. How would be under pressure by those who don't know the difference between a centre-back and a Stegosaurus? Absolutely. Howe's not under any pressure. Man and team love him. This is a long-term project. These fixtures are always going to be hard. Absolutely, yeah, be well said. Paul says, I know our owners won't settle for second best, but they're very long, have common sense. Eddie won't go unless he has a disaster. Absolutely. Eddie Howe's their first appointment, and, JB says the last 20 minutes is about leaving on the physically strongest, not just the best performers in this first 70, if you know they're tiring the most. Gary says Eddie getting the sack is ridiculous. Thought it's just having a sticky patch. It's early days. It's settling and he'll sort out. It's just you get some divvies, Gary, on Twitter. Let's be honest. There is some divvies on there who just think it's better to go out there and say, do you know what? They just want an easy target.
Yeah, I've avoided.
They're probably not even Newcastle fans. They're probably plastic fans. But yeah, I mean, look. As I say, we know there's divvies out there who will put out shite like that, saying, "Oh, it's time Eddie Howe got the sack and all this," and you know what? Let them get on with it. You know what? No, what's going to be the best medicine for this game is when we go to Anfield and we go there and beat them at Anfield. Let's go and beat them at Anfield. Then they won't like that, will they? Let's stick it in their own backyard. And let's celebrate the way Darwin Núñez is celebrated. Let's celebrate right in front of the cop. Right in front of them and rub their noses in it. I hope Isak does it. And
that guy.
Who is?
Darwin Núñez. The thing that annoyed me most about him was that all last season he couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo from 3 paces, except for when he was playing us.
Yeah,
I mean, Julie scored last season, but he seems to have a knack of scoring against us for some bloody reason.
Julie says we'll get easier opponents. We lost to the world's elite clubs like Liverpool and City. Yeah.
I mean, we've had the toughest start to the season from any team by a long shot. So we played 3 of the teams that finished in the top 7, and that'll be 4 on Saturday. So I mean, when people saw those fixtures come out, there's that thought at the back of your mind that we might not win any of them. We could potentially lose them all because of the quality of the teams. Obviously, we've got high hopes when we go and smash Villa. Man City gave us a bit of a lesson, but yeah, that Sunday hurts for a number of reasons. Partly the manner of the defeat, that it was Liverpool and Clippity Clock got to show his gnashes at the end. But there's some silver linings in it. And Van Dijk got sent off, so it's a straight red. So it'll be a 3-match ban. Plus, they'll probably dump some more on it. So
no, the straight red was only a 1-match ban.
But violent conduct was a bad challenge. It was 3 matches.
But saying that, it will be upgraded if with bringing the game into disrepute. So we'll wait and see what happens from the FA on that one. I mean, Big Dog says that they're short memories, football fans, 2 losses and they've forgotten everything Eddie Howe's done. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Big Dog. There's some divvies on Twitter who are out there saying, sack him, sack him, sack him. It's like, come on, for God's sake, you know. We might go to Brighton on Saturday and smash them 5-0. Who knows? You know? I mean, look, you might have to make a couple of changes on Saturday. I mean, the thing is, once Willock's back, who's going to drop out that team for Joe Willock? That's a good question as well. Anyway, Rolly, give us your thoughts on Sunday's game.
It's painful, very painful for the manner of how things turned out. I thought the first half we were excellent. As I said, though there was a foul on Alexander-Arnold who threw the ball away. As the rules are applied now, that's a yellow card. And I think that because it was a soft yellow card, the ref bottled it with the second one when he dragged Anthony Gordon down.
Yeah. But, although, saying that, sorry, Rolly, Saron James saying, he says, if the ref had sent Trent off, Gordon wouldn't have scored that from Trent's mistake, which that's very, very true.
It's not, well, you can't say that because you don't know what would have happened. It's possible he wouldn't necessarily got that particular opportunity, but you can't say if he'd sent off that he wouldn't have scored. But then again, would Van Dijk been sent off later? We don't know.
Yes, I agree with that, Jack. What would be even better is Gordon kissing the badge in front of the Kop end.
He was pointing at it after he scored.
Yeah.
Anyway, Trent should have got a red then. But the plus side of him not getting a red is that he was scared shitless when Gordon ran at him and refused to put in a tackle because he knew that Gordon's so quick he'd bring him down and he would be off. Again, Van Dijk straight red, went through Isak denying a goal scoring opportunity. I'm sure it's a red card because of the situation. Is it a 3-match ban? But I may be wrong on that because it's a straight red. And there's most straight reds are 3-match bans. It's only when you get it's normally when you get 2 yellows, it's only a 1. But I may be wrong on that. But I'm sure it's a 3-match ban. I hope so anyway. And then they can top.
They said it was confirmed. It was a 1-match ban.
Well, surprising because it was denying a goal scoring opportunity. I thought
yeah, but wasn't violent. That's why.
Well, he took it. He wiped him out. Wiped him out.
Yeah, but if it was violent conduct, it would have been a 3-match ban, Rolly. But it's not. It's a professional foul.
Yeah, no, and I thought because it was a professional foul, I thought that was a 3-match ban as well. I may be wrong, but that's my feeling anyway. But anyway, I thought Gordon took his chance well. He was terrorising tonight. Everyone was good in the first half. Second half, I know you're complaining about playing the ball side to side, but you meant to, especially when they drop deep, you need to pull them out. You need to move the ball around, get them to run, because they've got less men. That normally opens up gaps. And we did have chances. Yeah. We did have chances because you move the ball around quickly. They've got to run more because they've got less players. You sort of try and tire them out. And I thought that didn't have a problem with that. but the problem is we didn't take our chances. I'm surprised that Harvey Barnes didn't slip Wilson in like he did against Villa, because it's exactly the same situation. Obviously, Alisson made that great save from Miggy. They pushed onto the crossbar. Miggy hit the post. And then you have the freak accident. That ball through Darwin Núñez's first goal hit Botman on his arse. And when he's turning to look for the ball, it hits his heel and plays it perfectly for Núñez. And you think, if you did that 1,000 times, that ball would go there once, because it is just so lucky for them. And he finished it well. Then you obviously get a bit jittery, but then the second goal, I think part of the problem was that Byrne had moved from the left back to the centre back and was just adjusting to the change of position in his mind, and got caught out. And again, another good finish. With regard to the substitutions, it's a difficult one. I mean, with hindsight, yeah, he shouldn't have taken them off because we were controlling the game. And I think that's possibly one of the reasons that he felt that he could. And it's only because it's gone pear-shaped. No one complained when we took him off against Villa or took him off against Man City because of how the games ended out. This one, he makes those changes. It did give Liverpool a little boost. And then when they were living a charmed life, they think, well, if we can get one here, you never know. Which is, I think the difference between Liverpool playing the low block to the other teams that did it last season is that they do have some firepower up front if they do break away. It's disappointing. My other half was here, and Inner Hooligan came out when they scored. So I cooked a nice roast, and I threatened her with bread and water instead when Liverpool won. But I relented in the end. Then I had family and friends sending pictures of them cheering, so I sent them one with the middle finger up, and then sent a picture of Julie with a plate of bread and water. Said, "Oh, she's not getting a roast now." But yeah, it's disappointing, and it hurt more than the cup final, because they've had the number on us for so long, and it's a game that we should have been out of sight in. Some bad finishing, some good goalkeeping, and a lot of luck. I begin to believe that if Liverpool were a cat, they'd only have one life left after that one. Because
I tell you what, though, Rory, another thing that I picked up on that game as well, and people in the chat as well might have picked up on in the game as well, but all through that game, I thought Nick Pope looked very, very nervous, very nervy. Yeah. The most I've ever seen Nick Pope look. He's coming out for balls. He come out and headed one, and he didn't look confident about doing it. Yeah. He's kicking. He wasn't very confident with his kicking either, and I just thought he looks far too nervous for this game, Nick Pope. I don't know if you picked up on that, did you?
Yeah, I noticed that he wasn't as commanding as he normally is. When he came out to sweep, at least he was committed and wasn't half-hearted about it. Made sure he got there first, and rather than be fancy, put it out and then sprint back in the goal. I don't think that had a bearing on the goals, but no. He did look. It didn't look his confident self, and I think that's maybe because a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of obviously highlights on the game that he got sent off last season there against Liverpool at home, and he's probably playing on his mind a bit. So I can't get sent off. I think the midfield is starting to look up, because it looks like Bruno and Tonali is starting to build quite a good partnership in there. They're looking really good. Anthony Gordon, I think, was our best player, and he's looking sharp. You can see the confidence running through him, and that goal had done him a world of good as well. His first goal at St James's as well, and it's early in the season. But he puts in so much work, Was he tiring? It's hard to tell because you're engrossed in the game, but he puts in so much work, and he's not just going forward defensively as well. You think, is it that they've been told, him and Sandro's going, so bust your butt for 70 odd minutes and then we'll bring you off? It could be a planned substitution, like you run yourself into the ground and we'll take you off. I would have liked to have seen Jacob Murphy come on because he's more likely to have a pop than Miggy, because Miggy he's got to be on his left foot or it's not happening. And Murphy, not just will he have a pop, when he's playing right on the white, he'll whip crosses in. I thought that Isak, again, like the Man City game, never really got any service. I thought Callum Wilson was pretty much the same. He only had the time when he should have got the service, he didn't get it. It was just a frustrating second half. The substitutions did change it, but we shouldn't be letting those goals in anyway. There's a mix-up for the second goal, and the first goal, Botman was in the right position, so it hit his back, and as he turned, it hit his foot, which was a perfect path for Nunes. That happens one time out of every 1,000. That first one doesn't go in, we win the game 1-0. But it went, and they thought, oh, well, we can catch him on the break, especially when Botman went off, because Botman, again, was immense. I thought Salah they didn't do anything when they had 11 men. The only thing they did was in those last 5 minutes or so where they got the goals. I think you look at the game as a whole, up until the time that they scored, they didn't look like scoring. So it's only when they scored that people think, oh, we should have made the substitutions. But up until they scored, they never looked like scoring. So it looked like a safe substitution. But obviously they didn't score. And they got a little bit more of the ball, but they weren't really doing that much. It was just one of those freak results you get from time to time. It reminds me a bit not in exactly the same way, but if you remember that game in the Keegan era against Man United where we battered them for 90 minutes and lost 1-0.
Yeah.
It's that sort of freak result where you batter them and you end up losing. And so we played 3 of the top clubs in the league. We've got 3 points. I think it was Beer Vikings that said earlier that if we'd drawn all three games at 1-1 or drawn all 3 games, we wouldn't be particularly disappointed with 3 points at this stage. It's the manner of the defeat that hurts. And I think that's why there's been so much criticism of what's happened. Hindsight is 20/20 vision. It's great to say now we shouldn't have made those subs, but at the time, Liverpool hardly touched the ball, and it seemed like a substitution.
Foxy said the only negative for Howe was Tonali off for Longstaff. We failed to control the game in those final minutes, which is unacceptable at home versus 10 men. Tonali was our most technically sound player. Absolutely, totally agree with that.
I think again, this is like the beginning of last season. I think people are a little bit harsh on Sean Longstaff. No, you having a go at him for that back heel, but there was nothing else on at the time. So he thought, well, they won't expect it from me. Maybe I can catch him out. Didn't work, but there is a drop down in quality from Tonali to Sean Longstaff. Everybody knows that. Everyone accepts that. And I think Longstaff is a player that takes time to grow into the role when he's not been playing. Yeah. So, you saw last season when he got injured, he was out for a few games. It took him a few games to get back to the level he was.
Foxy said, Howe should never be under pressure for what he's achieved so far. He deserves to stay even with a below par season.
The thing you've got that we know about the owners is that they're driven. They've got a plan. They want to be number one, but they don't panic. This isn't the time to panic. We're still in a good place. how many teams are going to get 3 points from the run of games we just had?
Yeah.
I mean, they are three of the best teams in the league. One of them is the best team in Europe. So it was always a possibility that we could lose this one. As I said in the preview show, we've got to be at it for 90 minutes in the Premier
It's
League.
like Jack says, got to give it to Nunes. He took his chances which we didn't do, and that's where the gap in quality is.
Yeah, you give it to him but most of that's my point before. Last season, for most of the games, he was atrocious. Couldn't hit anything. He just except for when he's playing us.
Ronald says Liverpool got the double over us last season, but we still finished above them.
Yeah,
Foxy says Mickey never had a sit. I don't think people realise how difficult that chance is on the bounce of pace. Should have done better for sure, but it's not far from a sit. I know. I mean, he was unlucky when he hit the post. That was very unlucky.
I'm not suggesting he missed the sitter. I don't think we didn't have a sitter to miss.
In the volley, I mean, look, when Alisson got his hand to it, it hit his other arm as well, so it got a bit of luck there. But you know, but yeah, first 3 games: goals by Tonali, Gordon, and Barnes, Isak, Wilson, 3 points and +2 goal difference. Ain't that bad. Other than that, Botman hurt that may allow Hall, Livermore, or someone else to shine. Yeah, I mean, look, Rolly, the match is gone now. I think we'll just move on from that now.
Just one final point. This is me trying to lift the mood. This is all part of Eddie's plan. It is to lull Liverpool in this full sense of security so that when we go to Anfield in December, we'll do an Aston Villa on them because they'll be so cocky and expect to just walk all over us. I hope so anyway.
Yeah. I agree, Gary. I agree, mate. I mean, look, right. Let's... Right, so we've talked about the match. We're going to move on from that. Right, now let's talk Matt Target. Now then, Matt Target. Now, we believe, this is what's being said by reports, that Newcastle United have turned down bids from Fulham and Nottingham Forest, who want Matt Target. Newcastle are insisting he's not for sale. Now then, the strange thing is, right, the window is near to the close. It closes on Friday evening. Now then, the thing is, though, it's all right, Newcastle United saying they want to keep Matt Target. But if he knows that this team's been in for him, he may think, do you know what? I've got a better chance of playing week in, week out, and I want to be playing regular. And you can't fault the lad if he wants to play regular. So if he goes to the club and says to Eddie Howe, look, I see you've turned down bids from Forest and Fulham, but really I would like to go and speak to them. I don't think you stand in his way. I really don't. And I wouldn't blame the lad if he does, because he probably wants to play regular football. He's 25, 26 now, isn't he? So, you know, he wants to play regular football. What's your thoughts, Rolly, that we've turned down bids from Forest and Fulham for him?
I think he's a victim of circumstances. I think that if Lewis Hall had played in pre-season and his fitness was good, they might have accepted the offers. But we don't know how far, because you've got to remember there's fit and there's Eddie fit. And he's not had a pre-season with us. If he'd had a whole pre-season, we might have let him go because it's funds in for transfers. And now with Sven Botman injured, Dan Burns playing centre half. So we've only got 2 left backs that would be in the squad. So I think that's more than anything that's got more to do with it than not being open to letting them go. I think it's just the circumstances we're in at the moment. We can't afford to lose him.
Yeah.
He'll start on Saturday because Hall's not ready for it. Not ready yet. But if Hall was ready to play, they might have considered letting him go. I just think he's a victim of
Well,
circumstances.
that's a VCR on Saturday. We don't know. He might not be.
Yeah.
Remember, deadline day on Friday could be a funny old day. I mean, look.
Yeah, it depends. Again, it also depends on what the bids were as well. We don't know what they've bid. Have they lowballed us? And we said no.
13 million apparently.
13 million? That's pretty much what we paid for him.
But
the
thing is, it depends on him. If he goes Teddy Howe and says, I want to go, then you've got to look at that and think, right, you've got a player in the camp who doesn't want to be there.
Oh, yeah. I think that, I think, again, it's a bit like what they said with Jamal Lascelles and his, that was it, Besiktas. I think they're open to the move, but I don't think they'll agitate for it. Because I mean they're in a good squad. They know it. The togetherness in the squad is superb.
We might be about to see might see a shock tonight in the Carabao Cup. By the way, Salford City are currently 1-0 up against Leeds United with Carl Darlow in goal for Leeds. So there may be a shock on the cards there tonight. Yeah. Tristan says
had no chance with the goal. It was a good goal, a headed goal.
I haven't seen it, I wouldn't know. Tristan all says it's all got down to the final third. We say we've improved, but it's compared to Liverpool or from three is nothing. And until we buy quality and goals or over future talent, we will never beat Liverpool or City. Fair enough. Alan says Gordon looked the biggest threat, disappointed when he subbed. Yeah, absolutely. Gary says, I think we'll see Murphy get a run of starts. He's ready. Hope our lone players get a good amount of game time this season. Yeah, I mean, look, we do. I mean, Ryan Fraser got on Saturday for Southampton, didn't he? Bam is no character from the...
He's making his first start for Feyenoord soon.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Coffee says, hi, Tony Rolling all. Good evening to you, Coffee. Tristan says, Liverpool's from three, work together, make plays and goal opportunities. We don't. It's right back, so across just to pass it around till someone says something. Liverpool have a manager who trains goals.
I have problems with that because you look at their goals. They're just their goals were long balls. They weren't by any particular creative play. They're long balls. They caught us out with one, and they got lucky with the other. They had sort of like 5 shots in the whole game. They are very good, don't get me wrong, but I think that's over-egging them for that game because they did score the 2 goals, very good finishes, but the chances they had to score other than Gordon's goal, those 2 were the next best 2 chances in the game. They only had a couple of others. So
Andrew thinks Wilson will start against Brighton.
I don't.
No.
I don't. Yeah, well, it's not Isak's fault when he's not getting any service, and Wilson didn't get any service. So I think that Isak's a better player. Cause I like Wilson coming on because he changes the question for the defenders. But I think Isak will start. I think he is our first choice striker. But there will be times when they switch it up. Probably he might. I would keep Isak in, and maybe you're looking at Brentford or the run of games that we're coming after the international break that you look to maybe switch him around a bit for a couple of games.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Too soon for horses, Alan. Yeah, because he's still not fit, is he, at the minute? So, Sandro Tonali, them Scousers were just lucky bastards.
Yeah, they did have a lot of fun.
Talking about Sandro Tonali, right, okay, so we know he went to Wetherspoons, and now a lot of people said it was Matt Ritchie who did it, who conned him into going to Wetherspoons, apparently. Now, that was the rumours going around, that Matt Ritchie played the joke on him, the prank on him, and got him to go to Wetherspoons. Now, apparently, Callum Wilson's opened up on it and said, no, Matt Ritchie didn't do it. It wasn't Matt Ritchie. He says Tonali actually done it on his own accord. He looked at the restaurants in the area and he saw that one pop up and he thought, oh, that sounds like a nice restaurant. I think I'll book there. And he just booked a table and went there. And he says when he come into training, everybody was having a rib at him saying, no, did you enjoy Wetherspoons? And he actually turned around and he said, yes, the food was very, very nice. I enjoyed it. He said, I'll go back again. And they're all laughing because he's gone to some cheap restaurant to Wetherspoons where the drink's cheap and the food's cheap. And but no, Tonali said he absolutely loved it. He enjoyed it. So he'd probably be back in there again.
Another part of that story is apparently Callum Wilson is saying that the day after when it came out, everyone was talking about it in the canteen and asking who told him to go to Spoons. And then when he walked in, it's a bit like those Wild West movies where the stranger comes into the bar and everyone stopped talking and looking at it because they didn't know no one wanted to bring the subject up.
But yeah, I mean, look, you know, we think things are bad. I mean, look, right. So last night, I don't know if a lot of people saw this on the news last night. Now, Spain, the Spain Federation, the Football Federation, like our equivalent to the FA, they went to FIFA yesterday and said to FIFA, we want Spain suspended. They wanted the whole of Spain suspended. So by meaning suspended, that means all the European competitions, so the likes of Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Barcelona, would not be allowed to play in Europe at all this season. They wanted Spain to be withdrawn from the Euro 2024 qualifying as well. And FIFA rejected it and said, no chance, it's not happening. We are not suspending you. We don't care how much you want to play. It's not happening. I mean, we notice this ongoing round because of their president who's kissed a female player. You know, there's arguments going, was it consensual, was it not consensual? Nobody seems to know. And now his mother's gone on a protest. She's locked herself in a church on a hunger strike. She's been there 2 days now because she thinks her son's being violated in public. We've heard that a lot of top Spain male players now, that's Alexia Ferran Torres and that, they've all said, we are not playing for Spain no more until he leaves. It's getting very messy, Rolly, isn't it?
Yeah. It's 1-1 now at Salford.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's messy. Take my hats off to the Spanish FA because this guy needs to go. He's obviously being stubborn, so he's not going to resign. So if you put the threat of it's his fault the whole of Spanish football can't compete, that would force him into resigning. He should have done to start off with.
Yeah.
You just can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. This argument, it's consensual, is absolute bullshit. Because if she doesn't think it's consensual, it's not consensual. It doesn't matter what he thinks. It's a nonsense. FIFA have done what they normally do, is stuck their head in the ground. I think the Spanish FA have taken the right stance, and the players. And it's great to see the male players coming out in support of the female players, because you can't just kiss people on the lips just because you feel like it. You may be excited because you've won the World Cup and it's great for national pride, but he wouldn't have done that if it'd been a bloke. So why should he do it when it's a woman?
Absolutely. And the thing is, as I say, Rolly, you know, it's getting to the stage now. I mean, I mean, can you imagine if they had been suspended? You'd have no Real Madrid in the Champions League. You'd
Yeah,
have no Atletico Madrid, no Barcelona. You know, none of the the big teams are from Spain. You wouldn't even have Sevilla in there either.
yeah,
So, I mean, look, it's. I can see why the Spanish wanted to do it. You know, but um, the thing is, though, with him not resigning, it's just damaging Spain
yeah.
as a nation, as a country. At the moment, um, the Spanish FA are now looking into seeing if they can sack the head coach of the women's side as well.
I don't know what the issue is there.
I don't know. I know there was a few players didn't want to go to the World Cup because they didn't like him. But he went and won the World Cup for them. But I don't think he'll be bothered if he gets sacked, in all honesty. I just wonder if Rubiales is getting advice from, I think the Spanish president, Rubiales, is taking advice at the moment from Steve Bruce because I reckon he said to Steve Bruce, how do I play this, Steve? Do I just quit or do I hang on? And Steve Bruce has probably said, what you do is, he says, I'm the king of compensation. What you do is, if you want more Greg's pasties and pies and more kebabs, then what you've got to do is you've got to wait there, wait till they sack you, get your compensation, get the money put in your bank account. Because if you do leave, you're going to lose all that money. So Steve Bruce has probably said, look, just stay where you are and make them sack you so you've got more money for Greg's.
I mean, I don't know how contracts work, but I know obviously if managers get sacked, they get a payoff. But
Yeah.
is that the same for gross misconduct? Because I don't know how they structure the deals, but I would have thought for gross misconduct, which this would amount to,
Yeah, you wouldn't get anything.
Wouldn't get anything.
No, because that would have been the same with Pardew had the fat twat, who was our previous owner, had the balls to actually sack him, because when he headbutted David Myler, that was his cue then to say, you're sacked for gross misconduct and I don't have to pay you a penny.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He kept him on just to annoy us even more. And it showed our club up really, really bad that day. That was a bad day for our club. I mean, you're a manager and you go to a player and you're headbutting a player. That was, yes, he was an ex-Sunderland player as well, which probably makes it even more the fact. But
you can let him off.
But the fact is that you've gone up and actually headbutted a player just for over a ball. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And as a manager, that's where he should be the leader and show the example. But when your manager does that, to a player, the rest of the players look at that and think, well, he can do it, we can do it. And as a manager, he should be leading by example, but he didn't that day. Billy says, if Sandro's been for a couple of visits to the gents of all them Weatherspoon stairs, it's no wonder Eddie felt he was too tired for 90 minutes. Yeah, because they're always upstairs, Billy, them toilets, aren't they? I think you can inbox people on YouTube. I'm not sure, I don't know. Scott says, if the Spanish lasses causing trouble, they try to get their manager sacked before the competition started as well. Yeah, absolutely. They did do.
I heard that there are a lot of players that didn't want to play because of him. They must be feeling a bit stupid now that they've won the World Cup without him.
Bia says, my mother wouldn't go on a hunger strike for me.
It's all got a little... It's something that should have been ended quickly. So it's taken all sorts of dimensions now because the guy needs to go.
Yeah. Ronald says, sounds like it's getting to the point now that you think you kissed her on her arse or something. Yeah. It's a culture thing that you see in the EU Parliament all the time, says Scott. Yeah, absolutely. Latin culture kiss each other. Yeah, but if you look at the things, in some countries, people come up and they give you, but they do it on the cheek. They don't do it on the lips. That's what we're trying to say. That's the difference. Would-be farmer says, my mother thinks Trump is sexy. Jesus Christ, no chance.
It's a Latin thing, but normally it's kissing on the cheek, not on the lips, if it's someone you don't know.
Tristan says, Tony, you may not want to read it, but our front three don't create for each other. That is a 4-3-3 tactic. Is we dominated Liverpool, yet Salah found their striker at score quality. He did with a quality ball, yeah. But Dan Burn was too far away. That was the problem as well. And, there was no way Dan Burn could get back to even try and get a tackle in at least. So I see exactly what you're saying. And I do agree with you, Tristan, absolutely.
Yeah.
Julie says, Callum Wilson has said no one knows who sent Sandro to Spoons.
Yeah, I know.
BS says, I answered the door today. I thought it was my third shirt arrived. It was Jehovah's Witness asked if you believe in God. I said, not after Sunday. And Nate says, anyone seen Bruce has come out and said he wanted to go and sign Caicedo? Was he sharing the showers with them? All of them at my work are 55 plus and no payoffs for me. Scott says, plus she picked him up by the bum before he kissed, so it doesn't get shown, which is the hunt by the girls. The Spanish FA are supporting him and threatened action against the troublemakers. Yeah, absolutely. She lifted him up, didn't she?
Still didn't kiss her on the lips.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Ronald says Biden sniffs kids' hairs, but that's what I mean. Look, that was the thing going around, wasn't it? Before he became president, But he is a bit of a he's a bit of a weird one, isn't he? Is good old Joe Biden, and look, I look at that and I think, God, if he becomes president again, he's going to be about 80-year-old. I mean, Jesus Christ, honestly. He should be retiring.
Alternative. Oh God! At least he knows how to govern. It's actually, I follow American politics, but since Roosevelt in the 30s, he's been one of the most productive presidents with actual legislation that helps people. He may be slip with his words, a bit duddery, but he knows how to legislate. Where the other guys. All he does is he's got four criminal trials coming up. He's just a crook.
Yeah, I mean, Tanji sent me a tweet, and I'm gonna pop it on screen. If I get into trouble for it, fair enough. I don't care. Right, I'll get this up, and this was excellent what Tanji sent me. Actually, to be fair, and it's actually Keith Hackett who's actually put the tweet out there as well, the ex-referee. So, right, let me share this. Right. Now then. Good job. Oh, you've seen that. So what Keith Hackett says, interesting, given the present of Spanish football has been asked to step down for kissing the Spanish World Cup captain in the lips. This was a moment of sheer joy to win the race. It was a huge celebration for everyone involved with a shock 40-1 winner.
The difference is, he didn't seem to mind. He didn't make a complaint. He'd have every right to make a complaint if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And just because someone else does it doesn't mean that, and there's no complaint, doesn't mean that the guy that's complained about had the right to do it.
Fulham Spurs has gone to penalties. Billy says he also beats Russian stooges and democracy deniers. Would rather have Biden than Trump, though, Tony. Yeah, well, I wouldn't want Trump. No, well, the thing is, I couldn't care about American politics in all honesty because I don't really bother about the American politics side of it.
Problem is, it comes over here eventually.
Yeah, but I think old Trumpy boy's in a lot of trouble, isn't he? And we've know he's had his mug shot and he's got his trial date next year. So, but he'll probably get away with it anyway. So I wouldn't. He's not going to prison or anything.
We'll see.
He'll get a slap on the wrist and told not to do it again.
He's got a really good chance of going. I mean, that's his re-election strategy, so he doesn't go to jail. But it's the state crime charge that he's got to worry about because he can't pardon himself, and the governor can't pardon him either. So if he does get convicted and jailed, he's going to jail. The federal one, the evidence against him is damning. It's just whether they've got the balls to actually send him to prison or not.
Coffee says the Spanish coach had inappropriate made contact with one of the Spanish staff. Oh, okay. Can't America have someone new? I'd like for politicians to retire at 60, says would-be farmer. Imagine if Trump wins election, he's in jail. Yeah, he'd have to run the country from the jail cell, wouldn't he? So, yeah, he is. But Julie says, God forbid Steve Bruce couldn't run a bath, let alone a country. No, but if you want advice on Greg's or kebab, Steve Bruce is the man. He's the go-to, isn't he? I don't trust biased media. They're liars and corrupt, says Tanji, absolutely. Send the orange to the chair. I'll happily plug it in, says Billy. Jesus Christ, honestly, where are we gone with this comment? But yeah, I mean, look, as I say, the controversies around in Spain, it's going to rumble on, and let's hope they come to some conclusion sooner rather than later, because
I mean, the guy's got to go.
In all honesty, I think a Euros without Spain wouldn't be right, because it's nice to see Spain in the Euros on the World Cup, but obviously they've got their reasons. The only thing is, what are they going to do if they've got all these players backing out? Are they going to have to play the under-17s, or are Spain just going to say we're not playing the game and just get the points against them, or what? I don't know. Don't know how they're going to get around this. Hopefully, but because I mean, look, they'll be playing a European qualifier next week, but I don't think they'll be going ahead. I'll be very surprised if they do.
At the end of the day, they've got to figure out a way to get rid of this guy, because that's the only way it stops. If this guy goes, however hard done by he may feel, and whether he felt it was consensual, it's not going to go until he goes. To be honest, the fate of Spanish football is more important than the president of the Spanish Football Association.
Yeah,
just one guy. Why would you want to ruin everything for one guy?
I mean, Luke Edwards just put a tweet out saying Newcastle could go through this window without signing another centre back and be all right. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, are you sure? There is talk that we are checking out Harry Maguire. Now then, look, I know we've got our opinions about Harry Maguire, but the thing is, though, with Harry Maguire, could Eddie Howe make him back to the Harry Maguire he used to be? I mean, look, the thing is, Harry Maguire playing at Man United, look, it's a toxic club, Man United. We know how much the fans hate the Glazers. Look at the way they've played that football. So, they don't really have a strategy. So, I think if Harry Maguire comes in, Eddie Howe could get the best out of him, because he does play actually quite well for England, and he hasn't got the pressure of Man United. So maybe there's too much pressure at Man United. Maybe If it was a loan deal, I think I might be happy with the loan deal. To be fair,
And I
Spurs
think it would be like.
only they got beat.
I mean, the other thing you've got to remember is that if he does come in, he's not being brought in to be the number one and the
No,
and the centre half of the future. It's just for now.
Ronald says, does it stop when the Spanish gadget goes through? Who knows? Hopefully, I think Anderson will play against England. Or do you think Anderson will play against England? Do you know what? It's a strange one because Gareth Southgate should be banging on the door for Elliot Anderson. I believe he has been, but he just hasn't. I don't know. I really don't know.
I think the problem for Southgate is that there are a lot of midfielders that play a lot more regularly for in the Premier League that are English than there are in Scotland. Because and for Elliot, he's more likely to play consistently and for a long time with Scotland than he's England, because of the depth of talent in England compared to Scotland. So I can understand why he's made that decision to agree to play for Scotland. So he can play international football now. Now he in 3 or 4 years he could be good enough to play for England and be better than the players that are there or the up and coming players. But if he wants to play international football now, he goes with Scotland.
Yeah. Coffee says, would you rather have Maguire at centre back or Dummett?
That's a good question, that.
Yeah. BS says, I'd rather have Alex Murphy as centre back than Harry Maguire.
It's a case of whether he's developed enough to I know he played well in the pre-season, but that's pre-season. Is he quite there yet for playing in the Premier League? He may be a year or two away from being able to regularly or to start.
Big Dog says, imagine Maguire and Lascelles at the back. Jesus Christ. Mason says Southgate should be banging on the door of Balogun as well. Does he not play for the US though now, Balogun?
Yeah, I think he does play for the US.
So he wouldn't be eligible unless he's only played a friendly. Ian says, I think Anderson would be great for Scotland. I think he will, Ian. I do.
Yeah.
Sorry you meant next week. Yeah, no problem, Alan. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Harry Maguire's a year away or two from starting, says Beer. I'd rather bring Stephen Taylor out of retirement than play Maguire, says Coffee. Yeah. I mean, coming up on shows this week, Thursday night we're going to do the preview for the Brighton game. I keep thinking today is Monday, but I forgot yesterday is a bank holiday, so it's 2 days away now. So on Thursday night, we have got Joe coming on from Albion Obsessed. So we'll have a Brighton fan on Thursday night for the preview, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. Joe's a nice guy. He's been on the channel before. So he'll be coming on the channel on Thursday. Tomorrow we'll be doing the Premier League predictions again. But there'll be a bonus show tomorrow night, late tomorrow night. So we'll do the predictions. Then it'll be around about probably 10:15, I think, when it starts. The show will probably start about 10 anyway. I'll be doing a Carabao Cup third round draw live. So because we enter the third round tomorrow night, so it'll be interesting to see who we get in the Carabao Cup third round. So that'll be on tomorrow. So there'll be 2 shows tomorrow night, 2 lives. Yeah, 2 lives. And on the Thursday, there'll be the preview of the Brighton game as well. So, yeah, look out for that. And then on Friday, we'll probably do a bit of transfer window because it'll be the last day of the transfer window. I think it's just at 11 p.m. on Friday, am I right? Or is it 5 p.m? I can't remember now.
It's not the transfer window. It's normally about 11.
Normally, yeah, but sometimes it can be 5 p.m. as well. So I don't know. Maybe 11 p.m.
It's
Uh,
normally 11 p.m., but
we'll do a bit of transfer live show, and then Saturday I will be doing a pre-match, but I will have to be finished on that by about 25 to 5. So we'll do the team news that'll come out, and then a few minutes after that I'll have to come off the show because then I have to go and pick my other half up from work. So yeah. So that's what's coming up in the next few days. Very busy on this channel in the next few days. But the last time I'd done Carabao Cup draws, they were quite successful. So if you're up and about tomorrow night, then do join me for the Carabao Cup draw. It should be a good one. Coffee says, woo, 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 bonus show. Absolutely, Coffee. I'm worried about Brighton, says Ian. Try not to be worried, Ian.
yeah, because you think about Brighton is they got absolutely put to the sword by West Ham. Then they passed them to death, didn't score, and ended up getting absolutely hammered.
Everybody thought West Ham would implode because I haven't got Declan Rice, but hey, look, they don't need Declan Rice. They've got Kudus coming in as well. Good signing that, by the way.
Sometimes when you lose a big player, it means that everyone else gets the freedom to play because you don't have to play for the one guy all the time.
Yeah. Fulham knocked out Spurs on pens. This time, G. Mason says I'm wanting Middlesbrough or the Great Unwashed in Cardiff.
Oh.
Liverpool in the Cup. We might get Liverpool. Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Belgian Giants Antwerp are playing tomorrow. AEK Athens to qualify for the Champions League group stage. Great country.
Yeah, it's a great country.
11, Tony says Ian. All right, okay, mate. Yeah. No, I know sometimes I should have 5 as well, so I wasn't sure. Tanji says Sheffield Wednesday went out on penalties as well. Wow. England play Scotland in 10 days. Yeah, they do, Alan. Yeah, absolutely. Regarding Anderson. I was going to do one on Pete's channel. Great minds, Ian. Yeah, absolutely, Gary. Absolutely. But yeah, like I say, I've done the Carabao Cup draw the last time, and it was really, really popular. I think at one point I had something like 85 people watching live, and I think overall the show got like over 1,000 views.
1.4.
It went absolutely mental that night. It really did. I did the quarterfinal and I've done the semi-final draws, and I thought, right, okay, next season I've definitely got to do it on. I've definitely got to do it again this season, so I will be starting that tomorrow night. So do join me for that as well.
So
Julie says my birthday on Saturday, so you might. Ice pink heart shape, yeah.
So
well, happy birthday for Saturday, Julie, and we hope it's a very happy birthday because we hope not only you have a great birthday, but Newcastle make it even greater for you.
Leeds and
Foxy says
on penalties.
Wrexham's lost on penalties. Salford and Leeds has gone to pens. Ronald saying happy birthday to Julie.
Yeah,
So's Ian. Yeah. 21 again, Julie. Hey, not bad, is it? Hey, not bad. But yeah, I mean, look, as I say, you've got those shows this week, and we'll come to the end of this show, unfortunately, guys and girls. But I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen tonight, and if you haven't yet smashed that like, then please do so before you leave the channel tonight. That would be absolutely fantastic. It does help the channel. Also, if you are brand new to the channel, come and smash the subscribe, be part of this great community, and that bell notification also tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows as well. So thank you very much indeed. Rolly, do you want to let people know where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Paul67.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much. And everybody knows where they can find me on Twitter at TonyTooney31. The same on Twitch, on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. It's all Black and White TV. So you can follow me on Threads or request to join on Facebook as well. Okay. So let's see what people are saying before we go. Ronald says, key to the door, lol. Thank you, says Julie. Fantastic show, Tony and Rolly. Thank you very much, Ian. Everybody getting the happy birthdays in. Bye, Tony, Rolly, and all. Goodbye to you, Coffee. And Big Dog says, cheers, Tony and Rolly. Have a good one. Yeah, will do, mate. And you too as well, mate. See you later. Gary says, see you all later. See you later, Gary. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, that's about it. But like I say, we're back tomorrow with the Premier League predictions, so do join us for that. That should be a great show, as always, where you can always have your say in the chat and predict how the games are going to go over the weekend. We never seem to get many scores right, but you know what? It's all a bit of fun at the end of the day. Ronald says neat to you as well, Ronald. And yeah, but just remember, the future's bright. The future is definitely black and white, and it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
Away the lads.